Please sit down. Please sit down. I know I'm the last speaker between, tonight's activities, so I'm very, very honored to be here. And some of you have probably noticed that even though I have a Boston accent, I am not the Chief of Staff of the Army, Mark Milley. But he and I have spent a lot of time together, multiple combat tours, and what I can tell you is he wanted to be here today. He truly appreciates what the National Guard does for the country every single day. And he really wanted to be. He's a hockey player, and to the last minute, he told me that he was coming, and at the last minute, they had a thing called the tank, and he had to be there, and he couldn't make it. But he is real proud of our National Guard and what you do every single day defending the homeland against disasters like Hurricane Harvey and Irma, and really what you're doing every single day throughout the world. And the Chiefs made it a priority, total force, the total force. And when we talk in the Army, we talk about what a great organization the National Guard is. And so the Chief really wants to pass on his greetings. He really wants to pass on his job well done. Where's Texas at? I know there's a lot of back in the back, but what we saw in Texas was an incredible team effort. And what a wonderful job you all did in defending the homeland and taking care of the American people. And I know we're getting ready right now. Lots of states participated. Everyone's watching Florida and what's happening, and very, very special. And it's interesting, I was looking at the date, 13 December 1636. Does everyone know what that date is? Okay, that's when the National Guard was founded in Massachusetts, right? Okay, I got to talk a little about Massachusetts because I've run into some Kansas City Chiefs fans. And they are basking in their glory right now. But here's the thing, enjoy it while you can, okay? Because when we founded the National Guard in 1636, those were our first patriots. Those were the first patriots of the United States. And as they came of age at places like Concord and Lexington and made this country what it is today, they did not win every battle, but they won the war. So some of you may have been watching a football game last year. And some of you may have thought after the half it was over, 28-3. So don't count the Patriots out yet. They're resilient. They're just like you all. They're going to come back, and they may have lost the first battle, but they're going to win the war. And just one other thing, because before I get this speech here, but I do want to talk about the Red Sox. Now, here's the deal. I'll give you some insight right now. Some of you may know that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joe Dunford, is from Quincy, Massachusetts. And General Mark Milley is from Winchester, Massachusetts, and I happen to be from Quincy, Massachusetts also. And General Dunford and I grew up in the same neighborhood as kids. Well, here's the deal. When all three of us go to combat, and we've gone to combat a couple of times, and we had great National Guard soldiers there, but when we were together in combat in 2004, the Red Sox won the World Series. Okay, that was Iraq. 2013, we're together in combat, Red Sox won the World Series. So now we're in D.C. all together, and if we can get Washington, D.C. to declare a combat zone, which I think it should with some of the politics that goes on there, I predict the Red Sox will win the World Series. I'm looking out. I know we have a lot of veterans here. I know we have a lot of family members. And thank you for what you've done for our country. Thank you for the support that you give our soldiers every single day. And I know as I look out there and I look at some of the states, some of the seats are empty. And some of those seats are empty because right now you are actively engaged in dealing with the consequences of Harvey, and I know you're getting ready for Irma. And I can tell you, I had a chance to see what you all did during Harvey. And from the Army Operations Center, we got to see every single day helicopter pilots coming to the rescue, pulling people off roofs. We got to see trucks with water almost up to the cab, driving through neighborhoods and rescuing people during that hurricane. We got to see guardsmen working tirelessly to provide food, shelter, and aid to those who were in support. And there were 27, I think the last count, there were 27 states that participated. And you should be very proud of your efforts, because we are, and we know the American people are very proud of what the National Guard did during it. So give yourself a hand. And you know, as I was preparing these remarks, one of the staff gave me some statistics, and one really struck me when we looked at the National Guard. You know, over last year, this was before Hurricane Harvey and Irma, over 380,000, I'll say it again, 380,000 National Guard soldiers responded to 4,487 disasters in the homeland. Think about that. Think about the contribution that the National Guard is making every single day in the homeland. Because every single day we're subject to the powers of nature, and this year was no different with hurricanes, floods, wildfires, and the National Guard has been there. But that's not the only place the National Guard's been. It's been global as well. We presently have 2 Army National Guard divisions who are forward deployed. 35th Division, Santa Fe, where are you at? All right. Okay, currently deployed to Kuwait in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, where it was recently replaced the 29th Infantry Division. Where are you at? All right, you're back. You need to get a little more membership. We'll get you up front. Okay. I'm not, just a second, for the lawyers out there, I'm not advocating you join any non-private organizations, okay? So make sure we get that on the record. Okay, how about the 36th Division Arrowhead in Afghanistan? Anyone here? Okay, you will shortly be replaced by the 40th Infantry Division, the Sunshine Division. Think about that. Just talk 4 divisions operating around the world. Right now, we have over 2,000 National Guard soldiers deployed in support of Operation Freedom Central and Operation Inherent Resolve, with even more planned for the upcoming years. I just visited 3 great National Guard soldiers from 19 Special Forces Group, recently wounded. And again, just incredible Americans serving their country, very proud of what they're doing, and certainly make a difference. But that's not the only place we have Guardsmen serving. We have them serving in Kosovo, in Sinai, in Ukraine, Djibouti, and in support of Southcom. In fact, in last year, we had them supporting 72 joint exercises really throughout the world. And both the Army and the Air National Guard have participated in over 900 state partnerships. And that is very, very important for what's going on in the world. But what I'd like to do now is just talk to you about a couple of things going on in the Army. Things that are going to affect you, things that are going to affect the total force. Right now, we are standing up a new organization. It's called the Security Force Assistance Brigade. There'll be 5 in the active Army and 1 in the Guard. And what they will do is they'll go forward, and they will advise and assist some of the forces that we've been doing in the past. They will be specialized so they can accompany our coalition partners in operations. So in the future, we won't have to take an entire brigade and only take 500 or 600 soldiers out of that brigade to advise and assist. And it also gives us the capability, if we need to rapidly mobilize, to quickly build up to brigade strength. We're getting ready to field, this is something I'm pretty excited about. We're getting ready to field a new system that's going to fundamentally transform the personnel system, the integrated personnel and pay system. As many of you know, and not a whole lot of folks know in the active component, we have 3 different personnel systems in the Army. 1 for the active, 1 for the Guard, and 1 for the Reserve. And quite frankly, not necessarily fair to our Guard and Reserve, because when they come on active duty, and a lot of you have done this, we lose your records, we mess up your pay, it takes you months to do that. That's not the way we should be treating folks as they come forward. The other thing it's going to allow us to do, and I would argue, is truly maximize the talent of all of our soldiers. And I had the privilege of serving with the 101st Airborne Division as a one-star in Afghanistan. And we had some incredible Guardsmen and Reserve soldiers that were over with us. And I asked them to fill out a spreadsheet and tell me what they did in their civilian capacities, because their talents were actually being masked by their MOS and their grade. I quickly found out that we had a sergeant of engineers that owned an engineering firm. Quickly found out that we had the head of the Texas Highway Department there. Quickly found out that we had policemen, firemen, we had farmers that owned companies. And when you're trying to build a country, those are precisely the skill sets we needed. And we were able to identify those great soldiers and maximize their talents. And even as we go in the future, we'll be able to do something that's kind of blasphemous in the Army. We'll be able to ask people what they want to do and where they want to go. A very novel concept. And we'll be able to do that because we'll be able to match their assignments. And we know with our reserve forces that if we know what you all want to do and where you want to go, and we can match that to our requirements, it'll make us a much, much greater force. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the associated units pilots that is bringing our active and Guard units together. And presently we have 13 Army National Guard units associated with 11 active units. We think this is very, very important because we've been downrange together, we've fought together, and so we need to train together. Very, very excited about that. The other thing which we're seeing, again, great benefits, is the state partnership programs. You know, I was just recently over in Europe and had a chance to travel around and see a lot of our coalition partners. And as all you know, you have great partnerships with many of our countries. Illinois, where's Illinois? Okay, a little more membership back there, just kidding. Okay, in the back. But a great relationship with Poland. And you served with Poland, we were in Afghanistan. But just not one state, tremendous state. This is very, very powerful as we go forward because we're building these relationships. And just one little story, it was interesting because as I was traveling through Romania, and I was getting ready to go see a combined arms live fire that was being conducted with a whole bunch of our coalition partners. And as I was driving through the countryside, I was with a local driver who spoke very good English. And I asked him how the exercise was going, and he said that the exercise was going really well, although they had one complaint. One of the local ladies had complained that the strikers were kicking up a lot of dust. And she called the local police department. And the local policeman said, well, would you prefer Russian dust or American dust? And she said she liked that American dust fine, and she had nothing else to offer. So, as we go forth, and the training, and as the missions change and the trainings change, the Chief is committed to giving you the resource you need to train. We had 2 Army National Guard BCTs conduct CTC rotations this year, and next year we will have 4. And that partnership, that bond that many of us have developed over the last 15 or 16 years in continuous combat is what we're committed to and what we see as the future. So I'd like to close with saying I'm very proud to serve as your Vice Chief. I know the Chief is very, very proud. He and I have spent many combat rotations with all of you, and I'll end right there and take any questions. Thank you for what you do, and let's keep all those serving in harm's way in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. So again, the Vice Chief has been gracious enough to agree to take questions. So if we have questions, and we can get individuals to the microphone. And sir, I guess I would just a request on behalf of the association. We're fortunate to have General Ham here from AUSA. We're trying to build a closer bond to be a total force asset on the Hill in support of the Army. And I would just make a request that if you and the Chief could maybe give us 2 or 3 key things that the 2 associations could partner on and take point for you to address problems for you as the total force, we would be happy to take on that responsibility.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm
I'm only taking easy questions. I think the
okay,
Secretary
sir.
of the Air Force took all the hard ones. All right.
I think we got one coming,
There's a
sir.
question? Okay.
Hey, sir, thanks for being here, Major General Corey Carr, Indiana. Hey, sir, appreciate the commitment on the Associate Unit Program. We're fortunate to have to be partners and associated with 225 out of Hawaii. And I wonder if you could talk to the Army's intent for modernization as 225 gets fielded, new modernized equipment, things like Win-T Inc. 2. Is that something we can expect for our associate units so that they are completely interoperable and like equipment with our active duty counterparts?
Yeah. Let me take and I'm going to, we're in the process right now of looking at how we modernize the force. And what we're doing at the macro level, and a lot of this is going to flow out in details, is if you think about what we've been doing in the Army and in the total force for the last 15, 16 years, we've been fighting in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And we've been fighting in a mission situation where basically focused on counterinsurgency and counterterrorism. And we've been able to set up large command posts. If you go over to Afghanistan, Iraq, and a lot of our places, you'll go into a command post, battalion, brigade level. They have stadium seats. They have big screens like here, and they're static command posts. We don't see that as the fight of the future. What we see as the fight of the future is what we're describing as multi-domain battle. The domains being historically the 3 of air, sea, land. But we're also seeing us being contested in cyber, and we're also seeing ourselves be contested in space. And really, in Afghanistan and Iraq, we've pretty much been contested only on the land, certainly in the air in some places, but mostly on the land. We've been able to move our forces uncontested on the sea. We've been able to move our soldiers uncontested in the air. We haven't had a whole lot of challenges with cyber, and we haven't had a lot of challenges with our global positioning systems that we depend on in space. But as we look at the future, we believe and we know that that's not going to be the case. We know we're going to be contested in the sea. We know we're going to be contested in the air. We know that we're going to be contested in cyber, in space, and certainly on land. So some of the systems that we have in place right now, we're going to have to adapt. And we're in the process of doing that right now as we take a look in the future. And we know that we're going to need to take advantage of what's going on in the civilian sector, what's going on with information technology. As we look at the civilian sector, some of the technology has moved quicker than we can move things. If you understand the acquisition process in the Army and Department of Defense, it's very linear and it takes a long time to get things done. We spend years identifying requirements, and then we test, and then we basically start fielding, and the technology is changing so quick that we realize right now we're going to have to change that in the future. And we look at things like the iPhone, and we realize that if we were, right now we're trying to field maybe a pop-up cell phone because it takes so long. So if we're fielding something that was 2003, 2004, 2005 technology, we're behind the flock. And so we're taking a look right now at how we move quicker, how we get more agile and adaptive as we move forward in our systems.
We have other questions for the Vice Chief?
I think I see one over
I'm Chief Erickson. I'm the Officer Personnel Manager for the state of Utah. One of the big things that I ran on and is a concern of the troops in our state is the promotion timelines. Right now we have people, myself, that are waiting between 6 and 8 months to be promoted while we are doing the jobs. So can you address that a little bit, sir?
Yeah, I guess on the promotion timeline, we would, when we take a look, I mean, there's a couple of things that slow down promotions. In some there's people that are still ahead of you, and that may be the reason, but the screening of records takes a lot longer than it did in the past. And that may be the reason why it's taken you longer to get promoted, because you come out in a promotion list, and the way it works is each state, each organization is only authorized, so many CW5s, so many CW4s, so many colonels, so many sergeant majors. And what speeds up promotions is either we grow the force or we ask people to leave the force. What I think you're going to see right now, and this is for promotions, is we were in a very serious drawdown in the total force. And National Guard was too. You were going from your high about 355, you were on your way to 335 as far as end strength. And the same thing with the active, and we've stopped that drawdown. Now we're starting to grow the force. So the promotion rates will be better, but as far as why it's taking time in your state, there's only two reasons why I can think of. One is the processing of the promotions takes time. They have to, you have to be confirmed as you work your way through. The other, and they have to be screened. And the other is there's just not a position because of the numbers as you go forward.
Sir, right now the biggest weight is in the Pentagon. I am in a slot. I am selected. I am scrolled. But we have a very large wait time, it seems, at the Pentagon. So I would ask, if you don't know why that is, maybe we could get some help with that. That's all.
Yeah, what I can do is I'll come by and see you. We'll take your name, and I know the G1.
All right, sir.
And
I would appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. The good thing is I used to be the G1. Now we got a good G1. He actually knows the business,
Okay.
so I think he could probably help you out.
Thank you, sir.
But we'll get with you. We'll get your name.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Graves from great state of Tennessee.
Cool.
Thank you for being here and spending some time with us. The question that I had quickly, because I know everyone's wanting to get out of here, is we've developed and we've fielded a lot of systems since World War II, but we haven't really leveraged maybe the capabilities of those because we're still in the von Moltke staff design, as far as the S1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up through directorate level. What initiatives are underway that are underlooking or overlooking maybe the redesign of the staff? We've got all these computer systems that quickly do their jobs of gathering mountains of data, but we've never changed the staff design. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand. So the question is, we've got all these computer systems. We're collecting all this data, but we really aren't doing a good job dealing with it. Is that the question?
Well, right. We've leveraged technology to do certain things to get our data quicker, but we haven't designed or redesigned the staff really to take advantage or maybe to leverage. How do we know that we have the best staff design that we've got? We're using still the same staff design as World War II, but yet we've got 1,000 times more capability through technology.
No, I think that's a very valid point. And some of the things we're doing, and I'll take example of as the G1, this integrated personnel and pay system. What we did with that system, rather than taking the processes that we had since World War II, is we redid the processes to reflect really what industry is doing right now. And that's a lot of work because you have to change names, you have to change things that people have just become ingrained. And as we take a look, and we actually have a organization for business transformation, as we bring these systems on, what you're saying is exactly what we're trying to do. But having worked a system on the personnel side and pay, it's very interesting how tied to the processes people are. Where I think what we need to do is be tied to the outcomes and take what you said and say, are we satisfied with the outcome? And then we won't protect the process, because what tends to happen in large organizations is you defend the process and you become a bureaucracy, and people are very, very happy with that, and their jobs are tied to it. And, you know, at the end of the day, they start to do that. So that's a very good point. It's something we're working on, and we hope we make some changes. If you have any specific ideas, I can take that after this conference. Thank you.
Thanks.